Hello, everybody. My name is Oscar Roman, and I'm here with Universal Orthodontic Laboratory, now known as Universal Lab, a full-service crown and bridge laboratory specializing in orthodontics or ortho appliances for 40 plus years. The reason why I'm here today is I will be showcasing and demonstrating two intraoral scanners. We're going to have the Shinning 3D intraoral scanner wired for today, and we are going to showcase the Medit i700 wired. Okay, let me go ahead and try to see if I can fix this resolution. There we go. That's a lot better. Okay, so we have the Medit i700 intraoral scanner and the Shinning 3D wired intraoral scanner. It's a pretty awesome scanner. Okay, well, both of these are really awesome. That's why we sell them. Okay, so intraoral scanners replace the impression material. Not only just impression material, right? It's a tool. So you're able to showcase, educate the patients. You're able to close cases in terms of showcasing a 3D mouth or a 3D rendering of the patient if they have an open margin or a bad cavity, recession, plaque, and the list goes on, right? But the intraoral scanner is a tool, but mainly it's made to replace the impression material, right? So light and heavy body impression, crown and bridge, implants, dentures, name it, whatever you're using the impression material for, the intraoral scanners are engineered to replace, and at a very high precision, right? So both of these scanners are able to scan a full upper arch scan underneath 9 microns of accuracy, which is very, very accurate. Both of these intraoral scanners allow the end user to purchase the intraoral scanner and own the scanner, right? So you're not going to have to worry about any hidden fees, any maintenance fees, any upgrade fees. Everything is included. We also include the training and the installation. Once again, a little background on my end. My name is Oscar Roman. I have working on 17 years of working with intraoral scanners and digital dentistry chairside, a little bit of working at Noble Biocare as a technical support representative, and working chairside for Pacific Dental Services with the intraoral scanner, the CEREC. So a combination, of going on 17 years. So with my background, I'm able to not only give you a little bit of information regarding how you can be successful with both of these intraoral scanners, right? But these intraoral scanners themselves were certified resellers and certified trainers of both of these units. So let's go ahead and just start talking about the scanners themselves. The Shinning 3D is manufactured in China. It's a precision intraoral scanner. The Shinning 3D has been manufacturing very high-end and precise 3D dental scanners. They've been in the market since 2004. So in Europe and in Asia, they're they're like a superior intraoral scanner and superior quality name and brand. Obviously, in North America, they're not as popular, but when we speak to end users that have intraoral scanners, they're testing out the Shinning 3D. They have nothing but great feedback, right? The efficiency, ease of use, the entry cost, right? And overall, it's an awesome scanner. It's very precise. Same thing with Medit. Medit's getting a little shy over here. Medit is an awesome scanner and an awesome company. I believe Medit has been around since the year 2000. So they've been manufacturing, researching, and they're offering excellent intraoral scanners in dentistry. The Medit i700 is their newest intraoral scanner. Now, its twin is the Medit i700 wireless, right? So this is the wired, and then we have the wireless. That's the newest one that's been released, I believe it was 2022, with the i600. So 245 grams, the Medit i700. The Medit i700 has intraoral scan tips, which are autoclavable, right? So you can detach these intraoral scan tips, autoclave them up to 150 autoclave sessions. The intraoral scanner is quite awesome. It's going to notify the end user when it's time to dispose of the tip. Okay, it's going to not render a good acquisition. Therefore, will notify the end user to dispose of the intraoral scan tip, if you will. Now, when you purchase the intraoral scanner, you receive 4 intraoral scan tips. Now, every tip is autoclavable up to 150 times. The intraoral scanner is 245 grams. The intraoral scanner, Medit i700, has a built-in remote control feature. So like a Nintendo 64, if you will. So once you're scanning inside the oral cavity, you pause. So a single click activates the acquisition. Single clicks allows you to disactivate, to stop the scan. So once you're done scanning, state the lower, have the patient close. Traditionally, you would have to place the intraoral scanner back on the cradle, right? With the other intraoral scanners in the market, you would either have to reach to the touchscreen or towards your mouse. The Medit intraoral scanner allows you to control the 3D file, the 3D rendering, the model virtually. I'll show you in a bit once I start showcasing the scanner. So it's an awesome feature for an advanced user. Taking an upper maxillary, you're done. You single click, have the patient close. You want to take a look at what you've rendered, what you have acquired. You're going to go ahead and take a look at the remote control feature. The remote control feature has 3 settings. It has a rotate, allows you to rotate the model. It has a zoom, so it allows you to zoom in and out. And then it has a pano, right? So it allows you to just position it better depending on your expectations and what you're used to. Okay, so intraoral scanner is 160 or 180 degrees, right? 180 degrees of rotation. So depending if you are scanning upper or lower, so say you're scanning a maxillary, traditionally you would have to reposition and regrip the ergonomic application of the scanner itself, which you're still able to do so. But the scanner allows you to just engage and rotate the intraoral scan to 180 degrees. I don't know the degrees that I mentioned earlier, but 180 degrees is the rotational. So 180 degrees allows you to just rotate 180, do the maxillary, rotate mandibular, and so forth. Awesome scanner. Intraoral scanner has a UV LED that allows you, or it disinfects the internal hardware of the intraoral scanner. So very precise, and the technology around the intraoral scanner is second to none when it comes to that technology feature. Okay, so very awesome intraoral scanner. The intraoral scanner comes with the cradle, right? Both of these intraoral scanners, you would require a gaming laptop or a high rendering PC, if you will. You would need an NVIDIA RTX graphics card, a 2060 or above. We're able to accommodate you with a PC that is calibrated, installed, and ready for you to plug and scan, if you will. Or we sell you the intraoral scanner and we guide you towards purchasing the correct PC that has the correct configurations. Okay, so Medit i700, awesome intraoral scanner. The Medit i700 is the premium scanner for Medit, intraorally speaking. We have the one that's right above it, which is the Medit i700 wireless. I will be making another video for that one as well. And then we have the Medit 600, which is a step underneath the 700 wireless. That one is also wired. The Medit 600 is an awesome scanner. It doesn't have the UV LED disinfectant, this little light that disinfects the internal hardware. It doesn't come with the remote control feature, which is, that's the main part, is the feature, the remote control. And this one is just a slight bit faster. Now, the i600 is very precise, very efficient, very smooth. Personally, I don't see a difference when scanning. Usually it's just once you're done scanning and you want to proceed to the next job. With the 600, you have to reach over and grab the mouse, which is, it's okay. We have options, you know, depending on what you want, what you prefer, or what your expectations are, or what you may be accustomed to, if you will. Okay, so Medit 700. Now we're going to talk about the Shinning 3D Aoralscan 3rd generation. Right, so the Shinning 3D intraoral scanner is also 245 grams. So when you're speaking of the actual ergonomics and the size of the intraoral scanner itself, it's very similar to the Medit. I mean, it does have a slight differences on the slimness, right? But when it comes to the application, honestly, neck and neck, they're pretty identical. I like both of them very much. Both scanners have intraoral scan tips, which are autoclavable. Two different type of scan tip sizes. This is the mini and the regular for the Medit i600, 700, and 700 wireless. So you have two different types of scan tip sizes, which are autoclavable. We give you the confidence so that you're successful with everything that I'm speaking of. Same thing with the Shinning 3D Aoralscan 3rd generation. This scanner is awesome, precise, efficient, under 10 microns at a full arch. Same thing with the Medit. And it also gives you two intraoral scan tip sizes, a mini and a regular. These are also autoclavable up to 150 sessions. The intraoral scanner allows you to scan a full arch, depending on your experience, but then a minute and a half, 2 minutes maximum. An efficient or an experienced user, you're going to be able to scan a full arch within 50 seconds, if you will. Awesome scanner and very precise. So easy to use. The intraoral scan tip is autoclavable, like I mentioned. It does not rotate 180 degrees like the Medit does, right? So that's a good feature that the Medit has and the Shinning 3D doesn't. But quite frankly, you know, I want to say none of the intraoral scanners in the market, and there might be one that allows you to rotate it, but doesn't detach and rotate 180. Autoclavable, you know, so they're both neck and neck. Autoclavable up to 150 sessions both. Both offer a pediatric tip and a large tip. Obviously, when you're using the large tip, it's going to give you a greater scan view field. So it's going to allow you to acquire data a lot faster. But you have your mini tip for hard to reach areas, pediatrics, space maintainers, if you will. Once again, once you purchase these scanning systems, the scanners are premium scanners, but the services that will come included are also second to none. So we have the Shinning 3D intraoral scanner. Both of these scanners are attached to the cradle. Both of these scanners are wired. Both of these scanners are very efficient. Now, the scanner through the Shinning 3D only has one button, start, stop, right? Single click initiate acquisition, single click stop acquisition. Now, the intraoral scanner, if you hold the tip for, not the tip, the button down for 2 clicks, 1, 2, what it's going to do is it's going to wake up the remote control sensing feature, right? So the Medit has a built-in remote control feature. You actually control it with the remote control, with the joystick. The Shinning 3D doesn't have a joystick, but it has like a Nintendo Wii feature, right? So it has a sensor on the tip and it follows your actions. So on the screen, when you're working with it, it's going to allow you to either, so once you're done scanning, you have the patient close, you single click to stop the scan. Traditionally, like I said, with third-party scanners, not the Medit, not the Shinning, you would have to place the intraoral scanner back, touchscreen, or the mouse. Have the patient close. You want to observe the 3D file. You want to view it 360. You're going to go ahead and double click, activate the remote control feature that allows you to actually rotate the model, the digital model. Once you have what you need, hold this down for 2 seconds and you do the lower jaw. So like I said, I don't want to overwhelm you, but both of these scanning systems allow you to not have to reach over the patient, grab the mouse, or pause, right? Both of these allow you to pause, but you don't have to place the scanner back on the cradle. Very efficient, you know, eliminates cross-contamination, if you will. It's just a lot easier and more efficient for the end user and for the patient. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually share my screen, and I'm going to make this quick. So I will start with the Shinning 3D intraoral scanning system. Okay, so if you're looking at the Shinning 3D intraoral scanning system, I'll make sure I can share the correct screen here. I'm going to go ahead and add a new patient. Okay, very easy. So depending on the situation, depending on the restoration, how are we going to be using this tool will determine how we're going to be setting this profile up, right? So this is easy. If the patient has been here before, then you're going to go to follow-up or first visit. Let's stay at first visit. Let's test and then zoom. Okay, we're going to add a new patient. Test, zoom. Let's go ahead and say patient is 38. Patient has hypertension, diabetic, allergic to latex, whatever the situation may be. We're going to go ahead and save this. This is for the patient record, right? This is not going to the laboratory. This stays with you. Depending on the type of restoration, so right under the patient test Zoom, we have doctor. Depending on the amount of clinicians that we have in the staff, depending on the operator, which is the technician, and then obviously depending the dentistry type, the type of restoration that needs to be produced in the laboratory. Is it going to be a dental restoration, an implant, orthodontics, or other? Right, let's go ahead and stick with ortho today. And on the ortho side, we're going to just generalize it. This is what I like about the Shinning 3D scanner. Makes it easy for you. On the notes is where you will place what needs to be produced, right? So let's go ahead and say removable. I'm going to say, please fabricate night guard, 9 days. Okay. Save, scan. So very easy, depending on the patient, depending on who the clinician, the type of restoration, and the comments on the notes is what needs to be produced in the dental laboratory. So once again, once you're done scanning with the Shinning 3D and the Medit, at last, once you're done scanning, it's going to ask you, what do you want to do with these files? Do you want to export them, which I can show you how to do that? Or do you want to zap it up to the cloud? The way that works is your dental laboratory will already have downloaded both clouds, either the Shinning or the Medit. They're free. So dental laboratories absolutely, they love both clouds because that allows them to engage with clinicians that already have made the purchase with both scanners. If they want to be able to collaborate with them through the cloud, then they download that cloud for free. I help them with that. And I train them on how to be confident, how to be comfortable, if you will, with the desktop application for the cloud. They will receive an email or a text, depending on how we set them up, stating that you, the clinician, have sent them a case. They then walk over to their 3D cloud, which is usually downloaded where they do their CAD designs and they do their mills and their prints. So they love it. They receive it. They see the comments, what needs to be produced. They see the STL files, they download them and they import them. They design, they print, they mill. This is made to streamline. It's HIPAA compliant. Everything is 100% legitimate with both of these companies. Once again, both of these companies offer all these applications that I'm mentioning. Towards the end of the conversation, I'll go ahead and give you my email address and my telephone number. That way, we are offering live demonstrations and virtual demonstrations for all of our intraoral scanners, depending on where you are located. Okay, so to go back to the Shinning 3D, the patient test Zoom. We're going to go ahead and say that we need a night guard in 9 days, save, scan. It's that easy. And if you're like, well, I need something a little bit more, at last, it allows you to attach any type of digital form, facial scans, CT scans, whatever you may need, right? This is just a generalized session just so we can see how easy it is to and how warm and welcoming it may be for a user. So we're going to save here and we're going to click on scan. As you can see, this is a Shinning 3D intraoral scanner. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that you guys are seeing my screen because sometimes I will have some issues with that. Share. There we go. Okay. What I'm going to do here is bring the patient back traditionally. Once the patient sits down in the dental chair, we're going to go ahead and place the bib on, notify the patient. We have no more gooey impressions inside your mouth. We're going to go ahead and take an intraoral scan. We're going to zap this over to your lab. It's just a lot faster and a lot more comfortable for you. Patients love it. So once the patient sits down, we're going to go ahead and have the patient open up. Now, traditionally, we have models. Whenever you're test running a scanner, have them test inside your mouth, right? Or have them test extra glossy dentures. So these dentures have extra glaze on them for that specific reason. So it mimics the intraoral cavity. So what I'm going to do is it's guiding me. It's stating, hey, let's start on the upper maxillary. The Shining 3D is motion sensing. So as soon as I pick up the intraoral scanner, it's going to start scanning. Okay, now you're going to hear a little clicking background, a little clicking noise in the background. Let me just lower it a tad bit because it can be a bit loud. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start now. And as you can tell, it's really fast and precise. I'm taking my time right now. What I'm going to show you as well is as you're scanning, if the box turns red, there's a tiny little box on the screen that's green right now. If it turns red, that's just stating that you have too much distance. Get closer to the intraoral enamel or whatever it is that you may be scanning. So it wants to be really close, really, really nice and close. Once we're done, like I mentioned earlier, we're looking at about 45 seconds right now once I paused it. Now, instead of placing the intraoral scanner back on the cradle, like I mentioned earlier, right, we're going to double click on the button here, 1, 2. This is going to allow me to activate the remote control, the sensing feature, if you will. So if I hold it up, see how the button actually loads? It's a load bar. So if I want to observe what I have just rendered, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it up to the eyeball, and then it's going to allow me to just observe exactly what I have just rendered, which to me looks pretty nice. Okay, what am I looking for here? I'm looking for any missing areas. Depending on the restoration will determine what I'm looking for. This seems to be great for me, right? If I need to make any adjustments, I'm able to modify, I'm able to crop, I'm able to do all that easily. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold this down for 2 seconds, 1 and 2. That's telling the scanner and the software that we have a successful scan and that we want to do the lower scan now. Right, so the first scan with the Shining 3D scanner, as soon as you pick it up, it's going to start to scan. Right, the lower jaw and the bite, we trigger it. Okay, so a single click is going to start the scan, which I will start on the lower left side here. Turns red, what does that mean? That's just stating, hey, get a little bit closer, slow down. You're moving too quick. That's not a problem. We're looking at about, what, 20 seconds here, we're done. Once again, once we're done, we single click. I don't want to grab the mouse. I'm just going to double click, wake up the remote control sensing. I'm going to place it up. The tip controls a sensor. Right? What am I looking for? Any missing areas? We're looking good. Let's hold this down for 2 seconds. 1 and 2. Now, if you're looking at the computer screen or the software, it's guiding you, stating, hey, it's time for a bite. And if you're looking at the computer screen, what side is blue? The right side is blue, right? So what it's asking for is the right bite. We'll have the patient open, close, patient opens. We tuck this into the oral cavity. We have the patient close, and we activate the scan. What we're looking for here are certain landmarks as soon as both scans acquire. So once you see both the upper and the lower occlude, that's stating that we have a successful scan. Once that occurs, it jumps to the left bite, right? Some laboratories don't require both bites. So in order for us to answer that question, we would have to reach out to your laboratory. Traditionally, 1 bite will do, right? So let's go ahead and scan what it's requesting or what it's asking for. We can always overwrite it, right? But I'm just going to show you the ease of use. Very easy to acquire a bite. So that's why I had mentioned the Shining 3D intraoral scanner is very precise and easy to use. I'm going to go ahead and place the intraoral scanner back on the cradle. And I'm going to click on the check mark, which is complete. The optimizing process takes anywhere from a minute to 1 minute and 20 seconds or so. Meanwhile, right, you wipe down the intraoral scan tip with alcohol gauze, right, or cloth. You're going to detach the intraoral scan tip. You're going to grab an autoclaved intraoral scan tip, attach it. Now, the old scan tip, you are going to sterilize it. We're going to train you on how to sterilize it. Okay, that gets sterilized 150 times on your autoclaves. So now we're looking at the 3D file, the 3D rendering. It's quite awesome, right? So from here, you're asking, well, what do I do with this? Well, depending on what you are attempting to produce will determine if you use the cloud, right? Remember, that's what I'm going to do. As soon as we have you initiated with these scanners, I reach out to your laboratories and I train them on how to be proficient with the lab portal. So from here, we go to send. Right? And I'm going to send it to my cloud. So I'm sending it to myself right now. And that's how easy it would be to use the intraoral scanner, the Shinning 3D intraoral scanner wired, when it comes just for upper, lower, and a bite for a night guard, right? Traditionally, if it's for a crown or for a bridge, usually it's just a quadrant or posterior scan, right? So for full arches, once again, what determines that will be the restoration and what the laboratory requires. So if you're looking at the computer screen now, you're looking at the upper left side, it says test zoom. That's been uploaded, right? So that's already in the laboratory, in the cloud. So what I'm going to do is go to my cloud, go to the cloud, just so I can kind of act like the laboratory as well. Okay. Okay. And we have the test zoom right here. So what we're looking at here is the actual file itself, right? Records, the data, the report, the details. Obviously, we left it pretty empty. Yes. We go straight to download and start doing the 3D print and start doing the restoration or whatever it is that the clinician would like us to do. So both of these intraoral scanners, once again, allow you to have a 3D cloud. So you can streamline this information, the STL files, and communicate with your laboratory efficiently and complementary, so no cost. Obviously, you pay for the scanner and that comes included. Okay, so what I'm going to do now with permission is I'm going to go ahead and log out of this screen completely. And I'm going to showcase the Medit intraoral scanner now, right? So it's a completely different type of manufacturer. It's a Korean manufacturer. It's a very, very precise. It's an awesome, easy to use intraoral scanner as well, you know? That's why we're offering it. We're offering premium alternatives. So we showcase and we allow the clinician to make that decision. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and add a new case on the upper right side. Let me just make sure that you're seeing my screen. I'm going to add a new case. Get this out of the way. Okay, name. Let's go ahead and put Zoom test. Register scan. Okay, what we're going to do from here is let's go ahead and go to arch. Same thing. Let's do a night guard, lower night guard. Right. So I went ahead and I selected that we're going to go ahead and process a lower night guard. And that we are going to do the upper one as well. Save. Whatever it is that you're selecting here is going to be connected to the case when it goes to the cloud. Right. So how do you determine that? We call your laboratory. If your laboratory states, we don't want the cloud. We have our own portal on our website that we've invested on, and we want you to bring your intraoral scan into our portal. That's easy. right? That way, we'll show you how to do that. That's right after the scan. You don't send it up the portal. You don't send it to the cloud. You export it. And we can show you how to do that as well. That's very easily achieved. Okay, so I'm going to save here. We selected zoom test. We're doing upper, lower. Now let's go to scan. Now this is the Medit intraoral scanner, the Medit i700. It's called the Medit scan for clinics. Okay. So now, similar point of view. Yeah, you're looking at this, you're like, okay, what's going on here? Look at the top toolbar. You're going to select the maxillary. You're informing the scanner that you're going to scan the maxillary. How do you turn on the intraoral scanner? This one doesn't wake up just by picking it up, right? Like the motion sensing, which is awesome. You have full control here, right? Single click acquisition, single click stop. Same thing with the Shinning 3D scanner, right? So once you pick up the Shinning 3D scanner, it starts to scan. You're like, oh, I don't like that. Well, we pause it, we place it inside the mouth, and we start it. That one just starts with the scan initially. So the Medit intraoral scanner, I'm going to go ahead and single click on the intraoral scanner itself. If it turns red, it's the same thing here. What we're looking for is the ringtone in the background. If you're listening to the ringtone, we're looking at 65 frames a second right now, which is really fast. Maybe to get this up to 72 frames per second. It's probably because I'm running both intraoral scanners off of the same PC, which is not really recommended. I like to showcase it. I like to break the unwritten rules. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Single click pause. Observe. Remember how I mentioned earlier? The Medit allows you to take a look at the 3D rendering with the remote control feature, right? So it's a lot easier. It just depends. I like it, just control everything with the thumb instead of having to move it. So, but being able to move it is pretty awesome as well. Okay, so once we have what we need, it's very, very similar to the Shinning. We're going to hold it down for 2 seconds. 1, 2. Next application here. We're going to single click and we're going to start. If you're looking at the frames right now, we were looking at close to 72 earlier. So, when this happens, see how it kind of like overlaps a tad bit? Just going to kind of go over it from a different angle. And I'm expecting it to kind of just override everything. Like, you know what? I was wrong the first time. Let's see what happens here. So whenever we get something like this, what I would do is go in here right away. And you might be stating, well, why is that occurring? The reason why that's occurring is because I am actually moving the model too quick. Moving the model as I move the scanner. Inside the oral cavity, right? The patient's still. The patient's not going to be moving its head just like this. So what I'm doing is I need to balance my left hand a little bit more. Right? And that's really all that occurred right now. So I kind of laid it down a tad bit. So really precise, really nice, really clean margin, really crisp. Right? And this one has a shade guide, so it allows you to take a look at the shade. Both of these scanners allow you to do model builders. Both of these scanners allow you to go straight to print. Both of these scanners allow you to do bite splints. So we're looking at the remote control feature here, which I like. We're going to go ahead and single click on the blue button, which is going to allow you to articulate both the upper and the lower. So if we're looking at the bottom toolbar, it's giving us the right bite. So let's go ahead and administer a nice bite. Once we get a nice ringtone, and it turns green, that's stating that we have a successful bite. Let's hold this down for 2 seconds. Now we're going to do the left bite. Awesome. Right? Optimization. So depending on your point of view, depending on, once again, your expectations and your experience will determine which scanner is going to work best for the office and for you in the laboratory. Quite frankly, both of these scanners are awesome, right? I'm going to check mark it at last. Both systems allow us to override any type of missing information, right? So as we're scanning, we're obviously going to, if we leave some missing data, obviously, if it has nothing to do or if it's not important piece of contact, either a mesial, distal, or opposing of the restoration, then you leave it as is, and you're able to close it. Okay, well, thank you so much, team. I'm going to go ahead and close it now. My name is Oscar Roman. Feel free to give me a call at area code 562-484-4370. My email is oscar@uniortholab.com. Thank you greatly. Have a good day.